Hello everyone, how you doing? Hope your Friday's going well, and let's get started. Thank you as always to my friends and customers who shop with me, and where did I put it? A special thank you for helping me get to my goal and get a carrying case for my stamp positioner. So thank you very much. And today I am sharing a few of the July online exclusives, okay? And let me just make sure that I am on camera good. Let's see. For some reason it keeps sending my stuff lower on my feed than what I actually am, which is really weird, but you know, it's Facebook. What are we gonna do? Say hi if you're out there. Send me any comments and questions, and I would love it if you would watch it on YouTube and help my channel there. Okay, sorry for the delay, but you can look at these lovelies, and I'm gonna move this out of the way so you can see what they actually look like. Hopefully that's not too white on white. I'll hold them up in a second. There I am. Okay. Perfect. All right. So, let's see. I guess I should tell you what the names are, maybe. This is Swirls of Magic, and this one is Textured Tree Ring. Pretty self-explanatory. And they're a big die. They're 6 by 8.5. So you can cut it up and use it lots of different ways. I'll show you that one. It's a very deeply, get something on there. Squirrel. It's very, very nice 3D cut. So it's really got some nice bumps on there. This one, remember when you're cutting, make sure that your Stampin' Up is facing up when you put your paper in, and then you know that you get the raised up rather than the pushed in. So if you want pushed in, turn it over. Especially if you're using two-tone cardstock. You want to make sure to remember if you want it raised, Stampin' Up's looking at you, and the color that you want is looking at you. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's get those out of the way. And this is a little piece that I put on crumb cake. And I will show you a little bit more about that. Ah, man, there's a lot of shadow. Not sure I can do much about that now. I have to climb on a chair to get to my lights to move them out of the way. So we will try to make the best of it. And as always, I always take a picture and put them online under the video when I'm done. So let's talk about some pretty paper. I'm showing you this paper. I didn't get a chance to use it, but I'll use it next week. And this is, what's the name of this? Don't want to tell you wrong. It is a Stitched Season Designer Series paper, and I just have half of it. So I will show you fronts and backs. So there's the front. Really pretty patterns. Lagging as always on my computer. Looks like I'm a little crooked too. Maybe just the paper is crooked. This is fun paper. And what I love about this is if you don't particularly care for a pattern, I guess that one should go that way so the trees are going up and down. There's usually always something subtle that you can use for Christmas or not for Christmas on the back side. Aren't those birds pretty? Like those. And I love this piece. You could cut this out. You could make a strip on a card. All kinds of things. This could be your words. Or you could set a flower, poinsettia in there. Now let's see what the back sides are. Look at how nice and neutral that is. Candy canes, love it. See how those two totally doesn't look like this. There's another. Ooh, let's put something else in between. There we go. I don't know if that has a direction. It kind of goes every which way. And the red, kind of a 5 dot. Reminds me of like dice. And then this is a really pretty snowflake. And then we've got some more holly. Okay, so there is that. I will use that next week. And what are we doing today? I wanted to let you know that I did try my Basic Black hybrid ink pad. Hybrid, meaning that it's, and I haven't tried it yet, it's supposed to stay wet long enough that you can emboss, or let it dry and cure a little bit, and then you can watercolor. Color pencils, watercolor pencils, that kind of stuff. Blends. Keep in mind also, I will show you a stamp in a minute. I got one in here. No, it's right here. I used a stamp, let's see, with the hybrid ink. Remember that it's a permanent ink and it's gonna leave a little residue. And I washed this one off right away and I don't even see any residue on that one. When we get to the next stamp set, there is a tiny bit. So use our stamp cleaner, wash it off right away with water, use our stamp cleaner, rub it on and let it sit. So we just spray the stamp cleaner, rub it on the stamp, let it sit, and then wash it off. That'll sometimes take a little more, and you just know that they're well loved. Enough about that. All right, what are we doing today? We are going to be using our good old stylish shapes. Love this one. I'm actually using this for both cards. I'm using 2 of the big circles and 1 down from the biggest square. Okay. So here's a circle. I'm also using this new set. I hope you can see this. Let me see. Give it just a time to catch up. Looks like you can. And this is Pretty Poinsettia. Poinsettia. I'm not sure how they say that. Oh, and I didn't bring, hold on, I'll bring over the dies. I didn't bring the dies with me. Silly me. Here are the dies that match, which don't look like much here, but look at when you turn it over. Tons of nice pretty ones. Love that they always put the 2 pieces together. You only have to cut it once or twice. And maybe we'll use that next time. Okay, so I used 'Tis the Season on this one. First card, I'm using Shaded Spruce and one of these 2 little leafies. Looks like, I'm not sure which one it is. It's that one. That one right there, and 'Tis the Season. With more to come. And I wanted to show you what I did to make this. So let's start with this. And, oops, got my fan on, can you tell? We're just going to ink that up nice. I've already tested it. I'm just gonna push it down. Leave it to transfer that ink. It's the best thing you can do, rather than slam stamp it. And if you let it, it will release itself. Otherwise, just tap it. Okay? Clean off my stamp. Just pull that a little closer. And now I'm going to go in with my leaf, or my needles. And I'm going to put one here. Then I'm going to use the 2nd generation, the ink that's still available. And then I'm going to take off 1 layer and add another. And if you don't get it right over the top, you can always add just a little bit more. Okay? Till you get it to where you like it. And then I'm going to go up here and do the same thing. Layer 1, layer 2. That's a little better. Layer 3. So that's how I did that. Just using your 1st and 2nd generation extends the life of your ink. You know, gives you a few different shades that you can do. All right, where's my other piece? was a little spongy. I'm not going to do all of it because, you know, that's like watching paint dry. But I just wanted to show you how I do this. I'm going to get some ink. I'm going to tap it off, and then I'm going to come in off of the paper onto the paper. Now you've got to remember, and I don't have another blending brush, so I just pulled this out. Remember that you want to work the ink into the fiber. Use everything that's on there. And then again, tap off, start, get it darker, fade it out. And the more that you work that into the paper and use up all your ink, one, you're using up all your ink on your sponge, and two, you're setting in a layer that the next layer will be smoother. I always kind of start lightly when it's the darkest, and when it starts getting less ink, then I'll go rub a little harder, okay? But I'm going in a circle motion, and look at how nicely that blends. And I just kept going on the left. I kind of had darker on the outside and went back and did a little bit more darker on the outside, and just kept, as it came in, I just kept getting it lighter and lighter, okay? And there's another piece. And I think that's about it, other than I took some of this. Let's put this away so I don't get anything in it. I took some of this pretty paper, pull one out, and hopefully you can see, there's something on there. Okay, hopefully you can see all that pretty. It's like lines of silver, and hopefully you can see that. Let me see. All kinds of glare issues today. I'm so sorry. Let's see if I can hold it up a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. And then I just hole punched it, okay, to use for, instead of bling, if you will. All right, do that. Over there. And so I did a few layers. And here is my card. You can see those little, hopefully you can see those little lines. And then I also splattered with Wink of Stella, but I did it a little different. I took my Wink of Stella, I put it onto a block. I took my watercolor pen, I added a little bit of water to make it a little bit more runny, and then I just flicked it with the water brush, like so. That gave you bigger globs of Wink of Stella, okay? So there's card number one, and we'll bring that back in a minute. Let me move on to card number two. Just move a few things out of the way. All right, so card number two, we are using Peaceful Pine, that second smallest square. Gonna need a little block, and then we need all of this and this. Okay, I think I got everything. Oh, and I'll need that too. All right, so what I did first was I stamped from this stamp set, which is new, Woodland Wishes. Isn't that fun? I love it, I love it, I love it. Sending love and joy this Christmas. May your Christmas be merry and bright. Christmas cheer for all to hear. Holiday greetings. Love this. And if you're in class for July, first class, we're using this one. Okay. All right. So I took the little deer, stamped him with my hybrid ink, and I wanted him to be, remember I told you, hybrid ink, you've got to let it cure a little bit because it's expecting powder. So I just heat set it with my, can't think of the word, it's not a blow dryer, heat gun. I heat set it with the heat gun. Okay. All right, so now we're using the other embossing folder, same thing. I just went around and I made the edges really dark, and I used up the ink and just went around, okay? I made sure that I kind of got it over everything, but kind of the same as this one. It's darker on the edges and lighter when it gets inside. Okay, so I don't need to show you that again. But I will show you how I put this onto here and how I colored this. Okay, so I have light pecan, dark pecan. These are the blends, light crumb cake and dark crumb cake. So we don't need that for a second. We're gonna need this. And I always start with the lightest ones. I think I did the light. And I like to use when it's really small like this, I like to use the little pointed writing in rather than the flared in. And I just colored in my deer. I'm not gonna color in all of it, I want to show you the two-step process of this one. So I colored in, I'm going to color in the legs. Remember, the longer you leave it on there, the more it's going to spread. So I just kind of color in the middle. And all I really need is I wanted to show you the legs, and you'll kind of see what I'm getting at when you see the whole thing. So we're just going to do that much. So there's the light. And if you want to color it, go in circles, blends it out nicely. And then I went back and I want to add a little bit of where it would be darker, like under here, right? Under his neck a little bit, her neck, his neck. So just kind of, and you can do dots, you can do squiggles, however you want it to be, okay? And then, I'll show you this up close so you can see that, okay? And then, if you need to, because that's like a really stark line right there and there, you just take the other color, oops, see if I can do this in the air, and you just go over and a little bit down, oops, dark crumb cake. How about we start with the light, the right one, light pecan, there we go. So you just kind of blend it like this, and it looks like it's dark. Oh, and I'm making a mess because there's nothing. Oh, there we go. So you can just kind of blend out anywhere that you don't like just by going over it. Now it's going to have to sit there a little bit to dry, and that looks like a real mess. But let me show you the pretty one on the card. Here we go. So you can see I left a lot of it not inked, and I even tapped it in the ink like this before I put it onto the card base to get that really nice dark edge that you see around here. Now, I also want to show you how I did this background. This is just a piece of the In Color, what is it called? In Color Painted Patterns. It's just a bunch of little dots, big dots, little stripes, and big stripes, like so. Okay? All right. So, yes, I did cut this out. And I wanted to show you how I did this background. A couple different things I did here. So the first thing I did was I took the new shimmer brush, okay, and I'm going to put a little bit onto a block. And then I'm going to put a little drop of water on there. And then I'm going to take my brush, my water brush, and I'm going to make sure that that's wet to begin with. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of water, and I'm just going to dilute the shimmer. And then I just kind of did this. If you need a little more water, try not to get your paper too wet, but you want it to be kind of light as you go down, and it didn't do as well as on the first one. Of course not. That's because you guys are looking. Now remember, wash off your block right away. Okay? And then I just splattered with the shimmer brush and like a bone folder, and you just want to carefully splatter it. Now you can put it on your block. That's how I did this one. And wet it again. You don't want to touch this tip to the water. So it's better to just do that. Then it will be a lighter color than that darker that I first used. And I like to turn it sometimes because it's very directional. So that's how you can get a little bit lighter background. And that's not nearly as pretty as the other one. Again, wash off your brush, everything that you used right away, because this will stain your blocks if you leave it to dry. Ask me how I know. All right. And then I also added, where is it? I also added this little star, and I colored those in the same way. I had a little boo-boo up here that I shouldn't point out because you probably never see it. So I just colored in with the watercolor brush, lightened up the color like I just showed you on the block with those two, and just colored those in. Okay, and you can see that my little wash of color is much better down there, and my splatters are just the even light colors. So there we go. And you can see how it's darker around to just kind of give you some depth on that little deer. And I think I'd go back and add just a little bit on the tops of his ears, just so you have a little shading. And also, when I cut it out, you'll notice, I'll get really close, that I really leave kind of a, I always arch it around, even though it's straight, then I try and arch it where I can, so you don't ever get kind of a harsh cut, kind of like that point is pointed where the rounded looks a little more like it was a die cut image. Okay, and there is card 2. Here is card 1 again. As I always do at this point, which one's your favorite? Which one do you like better? Which one stamp set do you think you want to play with? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some inspiration, and happy graphing this weekend. Bye now.